Welcome to video 11, The Unreality of the World, or Ungrip the Fictional World. Hello friends, thanks again for being here. In my last video, I talked about us being all for one and one for all. God and his reality, which includes us, is whole, with each part of the whole containing the entirety of the whole, because God is an idea. A very wonderful thought, a concept beyond comprehension of a supreme, non-stop, never-ending happiness. Conflict and problem-free, that, when shared, does not diminish, but grows. No attack is possible in reality, for how can what is one attack itself? When we realize that, although we are firmly convinced we are in separate bodies in opposition to each other, behind that insane idea is the fact that we are one idea that is the same idea as God himself, we can finally relax and stop chasing our own tail and being afraid of our own reflection that we see everywhere. We keep making the same mistake over and over again, that we can make ourselves be. We already are as God created us. This is why that idea inspires such joy and peace. But there is one thing, yes, only one thing, that stands in the way of our realization of this truth. The world. Yes, I know. The world seems like more than one thing. It seems like an entire universe inside other universes that can be seen to go on forever, both microscopically and telescopically. When we look in a microscope, no matter how strong the magnification, we continue to find more, quote, life. And when we think a thought, it always leads to another thoughts, and there seems to be no end to the proof that the world is a very solid and unmovable reality. The problem with that belief is that it's simply not the case. The world is nothing. That's right, nothing. It's neither good nor bad. It simply isn't. I will explain. Today's topic, the illusion of the world and the solidity of reality. Truth, heaven, light, certainty, strength, oneness, wholeness, completeness, reality, trust, miracles and love, surrender and release, letting it be with non-judgment, deep peace and unwavering joy, eternal life, forever born and renewed. Sounds good, huh? Lies, the world, darkness, hell, doubt, uncertainty, fear, weakness, separation, incompleteness, unreality, judgment, perception, hate, condemnation, grievances, guilt, anger, desperate grasping unto illusions of sustenance, completion, vacillation from pretending to be happy to total misery and back, ending in death, the ultimate lack. To be saved is to be free of fear and limitations. The world we believe in and the body we identify with are what we must be saved from. How? By brushing it aside, forgetting it, and looking past it to where our reality awaits our awakening. What is the world? To some of us, it is the planet we believe we live on in a body made of dust and water that ends what feels like moments after it seemed to come into existence. To others, it's what seems like an endless universe of universes with no end. But in truth, it is nothing, less than nothing, because what goes against God's nature and his laws, which rule reality, also known as heaven, is not even possible. How simple it is to brush aside the world, which once seemed so concrete and solid, to quickly reveal the truth, engulfed in blazing light for us to behold, to be immersed in, to instantly be brought back to the heavenly state we never left. But what is that you are dreaming? You say you have tried but failed? That the world was too big, laden with unresolved complexities and heavy with problems that you could not even see around it due to its scope being so enormous? That you grunted and toiled in attempting to push it aside, but that it would not budge? It can only be in a dream that an impossible world could be solid and substantial, like a mountain, that would make it seem impossible to move. But in an awakened state, the magnitude and enormity you thought was real is merely an illusion, like everything in it. The truth is that the world is not a world. It is a single, erroneous, impossible concept only. It is simply one false idea, as weightless and as meaningless as a speck of dust endlessly spinning in the wind with no chance to settle down, ground itself in reality, and rest a while. How easy it is to take one tiny mad idea and brush it aside. Only when we look at it, try to make sense of it, and desperately try to fix what cannot be fixed within its illusory nothingness, being beingless, can it ever seem like something formidable and solid? Brush it aside. See how easy nothingness is set aside to see what God Himself has willed that we see and are one with today. It is ours. Concerned about the world? Don't be. We don't even know what it is. Despite our unending attempts to understand it and make sense of it, it remains a mystery. It is a mystery precisely because it is unsolvable and makes no sense. Worried about what new problems the world will throw at you next? Forget about it. The formidable problems you think you see are like a scary blowfish. Look away from it for a while, and when you look back, it's a deflated, skinny, harmless fish. Think the world is in need of your repair? Put it aside. It's not important. You are important. Never mind it. Mind you. The world can't be fixed because it's not real. But your mind can get healed because you are real. It's not what you think. It's what God thinks. It's not what you want. It's what God wills. It's not what you see. It's what God decrees. Your sight cannot be saved until you realize you are saved, which is to realize who you are. Concern yourself only with your true self, and it will show you a bright and saved reality. Are you afraid of looking away from the only reality you can remember? Certainly, your false and unreal self would be mortified of that idea and bid you to never look away, lest you lose a grip on your sanity and slip into a hopeless tailspin downwards towards oblivion. The problem with that thought is that the exact opposite is true. It is only by looking away from the world and releasing our grip from it that we can see the real world beyond it, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from the lawns of heaven. There is no world, for its foundation is a contradiction of God's will, so it cannot exist. It was invented by an illusory figment wrought from imagined fear in a nightmare that ended before it began. We are not there. It has no being. The ego, whose only tool is deception, is like the magician that keeps you looking at what's not happening to keep you from seeing what really is happening. What has the ego actually manifested? Nothing, because nothing cannot make something. It's easy to forgive or overlook the world when you realize that the thought system that gave rise to it is rooted in nothingness. There is nothing to forgive because the world is nothing. The ego is easy to ignore when we realize all its screeches and panicked paranoia are clear indicators of its madness. We are not mad. We are sane. We are not in danger. We are safe. We are not lost nor forgotten. We were never left and always cherished. We cannot die, for we are spirit, free from all physicality, limits, and decisions. We were never born, for we can never die. We are God's extension, and like Him, we cannot change, being timeless, conflict-free, and thus problem-free. Pensive thought to ponder. Believing in the world is the opposite of the elephant in the room concept. When people say the elephant in the room, they were referring to the most obvious thing in the room being unnoticed or overlooked. In the case of believing in the world, we are seeing something that appears incredibly substantial, formidable, and immovable, with mass so great that the idea of it being less massive than a feather in the wind evokes total disbelief. Though that the truth about the world is that, though it seems like an elephant in the room, it's smaller than nothing. Great news. See you in my next video.